It's time for Smart Homes for Dumb Guys, making our homes smarter, one dumb mistake at a time.
Episode 5 of Smart Homes for Dumb Guys. I am Chad. That is Mark. And it's not week 5 for sure, but episode 5. So welcome aboard, Mark. Glad to see you again.
Glad to be back.
So
Feel like it's been a while.
It has been a while, and we do have to apologize to our legions of fans.
Yeah.
We've life just kind of gets in the way, and this smart home it kind of played a back burner for me, at least, and I was kind of the catalyst for the next episode, so that's why we're kind of holding off. But I don't have great news to talk about.
Well, you're spending too much time on the beach during spring break and stuff. So.
Spring break was perfect because we got to the beach a few times. It rained, but the point was that we just didn't do a lot, and it was nice. So lots of naps and staying up late and sleeping in, and fun stuff. So, but the last episode, I was blowing it up. I was starting all over. I was kind of tired of Alexa. It caused all the problems over Christmas break. And literally, when the time we pressed end on our last episode, like a half an hour later, I got Alexa Plus. And we had talked about that. And I thought that would be the savior. And I'm here to report it is not. I did not have a lot of luck with that. In fact, I'm considering turning it off on my Echo devices because it's not effective.
Does it hear your wife any better?
I don't know about that. I think it does, but it's slower. It's not doing what they're advertising it's doing. And the thing that I get mad, and I was yelling at Alexa the other day because they have that. I think it played in the Super Bowl, that Chris Hemsworth Alexa commercial in the Super Bowl where he's like, "Oh, it's gonna close." None of the stuff that they say in that video, that commercial, actually works right now, and that makes me mad. So that's frustrating, and so that's not the issue. So I'll
just
tell
another nail in that coffin.
It really does seem that way, and that's a shame because for the longest time it was one of the better in the game. Well, I mean, Home Assistant's been around forever, but as far as simple to use, plug and play, and I thought that the AI was supposed to help you create what they call routines or automations in Home Assistant. What do they call them in Google?
I don't know. I can look it up while
it
you
doesn't
talk.
matter. So it did not. It didn't understand what I was asking, and I know I was asking for some pretty specific stuff. So finally got started, did a virtual box on this laptop, and downloaded Home Assistant, and then the frustration began. Frustration.
That's when the text to me started.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't understand, and then I'm heavy on Gemini. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I get the idea. Here's my frustration. I do like all that can be done. You can do pretty much anything. But it's so hard. It's not something that you could. Well, that's not hard. That's not true.
It's not instant. You don't get the instant gratification.
It's not just instant. It takes hours just to get into the Govee integration, Mark. The Govee integration. I wanted to punch somebody in the face. I wanted to drive to Govee, wherever they're headquartered, and strangle somebody. Because I don't know if they don't want you using it. I guess that's the thing. I guess they don't want you technically
They want you using their app, and their app is all sorts of construed with social, and it's a disaster from a getting stuff done at your house standpoint, and they want you to use that. At the same time, they haven't closed it down like Chamberlain,
right?
Craftsman, garage door stuff. I couldn't think there for a second, but they easily could, but they still do allow it open in some way.
I just think that it's a tinkerer's tool, and I do enjoy doing that. But it is something that I feel like I need to dedicate hours to, and I'm the setting up the automations. I got because I guess I can do simple stuff in Alexa. I was really trying to do very difficult stuff in Home Assistant, and I don't think that was the smartest way to start. And I messed around with Home Assistant a couple years ago, so it's not like I'm brand new to it.
There's a couple different things that they've added too, and if you have some of the labs turned on, if you had like the devices lab turned on, then the triggers lab turned on, then you don't get necessarily all the triggers that are actually available to you. So you may have to play around with the labs a little bit, turn off the triggers to do an automation that's really kind of advanced, and then turn the trigger lab back on because it'll break your other automations if you used it for anything else. They continue to add new stuff to that, but it's called a lab for a reason. They're developing it and they want to get it in the hands and get some feedback as well. So that may be something, the automations, you want to look into.
Yeah, and I think too, when I have the time, and obviously I probably should have messed around with it in spring break, and we just didn't. You know, summertime's going to give me that opportunity that I can sit down for a good straight hour or two and tinker around and figure it out. I just don't really have that time, and I was staying up till like 1 a.m. and then sacrificing my sleep to try to get that stuff done. I do like, you know, for instance, my fridge. We've talked about my fridge on the show before. You can see almost everything on there except for one kind of unusual thing, but I don't know why that is. But so the SmartThings integration is good. Some of that stuff is pretty simple, and it just kind of works. But the ones that don't, like I took some of the outdoor strip lights, Govee lights that I had on my palm tree. I took them out and I put them above my cabinets to have some ambient light above. And I'm like, that'll be perfect. I can walk into the kitchen at night, don't have to turn the other lights on. And I just got so frustrated to try to get... And there's a lot of help online in GitHub and all this stuff. And the instructions are pretty clear. So maybe it's just me. But I just got too frustrated and I stopped.
Yeah, you can't stop or it's not going to work. It's not just going to magically work. So I think you're going to have to, there is a lot of help, but at the same time, is their setup, it's not quite exactly the same. Is it going to work the same as mine? That's the frustrating thing. And that's where it makes you feel a little bit dumb. Like, it should just work. Like, let's be honest. But the Govee, and you're lucky you don't have a lot of sync stuff, because that's even worse.
Yeah.
Because every time I restart Home Assistant, any updates or stuff like that, it won't show up as a sync device active until I open up the sync app, turn something else on, and then all of a sudden it gives me these states of all of the stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a little weird. You'll learn those quirks. And I don't know. I restarted something this past week, and only 2 of these bar lights came on but eventually they came back on. But you'll actually hear about that later.
I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to decide, and it almost, and the combination of Alexa and this frustration almost made me like, is this worth it? Or I'm wondering if it makes more sense, and this is a cost factor, to just almost start over from scratch as far as switches. Because I have multiple cheap switches. I couldn't get, it was a Chinese brand, but it shows up really easily in both Amazon and in Google's system. I couldn't get it. And it's...
sorry, along those lines, did you bring Alexa in the integration into...
Not yet. Okay. I got the voice The Echo,
like the
whatever
media
it is.
player.
The media player. I have that hooked up. And I got some things to work. And I'm really just wondering if my wants, not my needs, my wants for my smart home are a little more advanced than what I'm either can do or willing to put the time into.
No, it might be worth investigating. Maybe Home Assistant's not exactly the right thing. Maybe you need something in between, like Homey.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't really, and I don't think Smart Things is quite the right avenue because that's a little bit less. And I know you're not going to do HomeKit.
Yeah, and I think I want more. I don't want to have, when I say the same, I don't know that I want to go with the Smart Things. I just wonder if you have more similar devices. Again, even the same brand, even if it's the same cheap Chinese brand, it's the same brand, so everything just comes in. Because I've got 3 different smart plugs from 3 different brands. Tuya I have a couple of those. Yeah. And I got those working. I got like 2 or 3 different switches. So that's each one. And again, I know once I get it in, then it's work. Everything's, well.
Once the integrations are running, you should be okay. But then there's, again, it's all, the Govee stuff is running on Mosquito Broker.
Yeah.
I don't even, MQTT. I don't even know what it's an open protocol. I know that's all that it is. But not every entity that comes into Home Assistant is actually controllable.
Right.
And you have to hit the right thing, and you have to kind of figure out which one that is. And these light bulbs down here, the blue ones and beside me, are all Govee light bulbs, but they're in Home Assistant in 3 different ways.
Yeah.
So you and I had an automation that I created that 7 of the 8 light bulbs were working correctly, and the 8th wasn't. Well, it's because I added that eighth light bulb as the wrong entity to actually activate it properly.
Yeah.
And that Gemini did help me find that out. Like, why isn't this working? Why is this bulb not turning on? Pasting the YAML code, it knows how to read it much better than I'll ever be able to. So it was like, hey, you're not using the same entity here to actually turn it on. So simple is important. But it doesn't quite give you that same yes, it worked.
Well, I know, and I know that that's part of it, and I think timing, again. I think timing was a little bit of the issue. A lot of other stuff going on, stuff that needs to be done. So I almost feel guilty a little bit messing around with it when I should, I have other things to do. So that's part of it too. So maybe it is a delay for me, and just. It kind of reattack it in the summertime, where if 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, if I want to spend 2 hours doing it, my kids will be fine. They're old enough now; they don't need supervision anymore.
Life of a teacher.
Yeah, and that is how. And I know not everybody does that. And I think for some people, that's their way to, get away from it all, to escape, is to mess around with integrations and automations. Again, I think I'm biting off a little more than I can chew right now, because one of the integrations that I really thought would be cool to do, I got my calendar integrated, Google Calendar. Now, it's pretty simple, even with the API keys, because I'm familiar with doing that with other stuff. I can figure all that out, or have Gemini's help. I got the Waze integration, and I wanted to have it say check every few minutes to see if I have an event on my calendar that is drivable, and then it needs to check what the traffic is and let me know if I need to leave early with an announcement. So I know it's I'm not asking it to do a lot. It's possible, but I know that I think I just bit off more than I could chew, because again, I'm thinking I can turn a light on at sunset with Alexa very easily. And that's not difficult in Home Assistant. Same idea. But why do I need to go? If I'm going to go Home Assistant, I'm going to go big. Am I wrong in that?
Yeah, or you're going to use Home Assistant to control all the multiple different devices that are not necessarily compatible inside of Amazon.
Yeah, but I don't run into that many that aren't. What I can't do is access all of them. Like, for instance, in this room that I'm in right now, I have an Ecobee switch, which they don't even make anymore. It is it has a presence detection, motion detection. I guess it's motion detection, and I think it has a temperature gauge inside of it. I can't access that through Alexa. I can't even access that through Ecobee's stuff, but it's in HomeKit. So through HomeKit, I can access it and all that. So I'd love to be able to access it. I'd love to be able to say, oh, it's too warm in here, turn on the fan. Easy. So I just have to get through it. Is that what you're saying to me?
Yeah, you gotta just keep pushing that boulder up the hill, and it's gonna crush you a couple times, but you gotta run back down and get it and push it right back up the hill.
And I needed a win. I probably needed a win where it was like, that's a cool automation, and I just didn't get
work on getting some lights flashing when the Phillies score a run. That's kind of how I.
Yeah, and I got all that. I got all those integrations in, and with the I can't remember what they call it now, but the ESPN's API
team tracker, I believe is.
And and that alone, the amount of stuff that you can access and use for triggers or for anything is probably sufficient for just some fun stuff. But again, I'm thinking big. I want to go to these huge things, and we'll get there. It's a slower journey. It's not like I knew it wasn't going to be immediate. I'm not looking for immediate gratification, but it got to be too much where I'm like, just give it up. Plus, then kids, because I set one up where this is a little bit of a weakness that we can dump, but I set one up where it was supposed to know when I got home based on my phone location. And after a certain amount of time, if I walked into the kitchen using the Echo Show 8 that has presence detection, then it would tell me if I had anything going on later in the night. Well, it would just blurt out in the random times. It would just say, and it wouldn't read my calendar right, and it would always say I had something going on, even though I didn't. So I'm like, the kids are like, "Why? What have you done to the house?"
Nice. That's even better. So when you get it to talk when you're not even around, that's definitely not the house approval factor at all.
Exactly. So that's that. I don't want to. I feel like we spent a lot of time. It will come, but it for anybody out there who's tried it and been frustrated.
We feel you.
Yeah, exactly. And I keep going back to it. I know there are people who, if they ever would catch an episode of this and they've been doing Home Assistant forever, and said, yeah, that's kind of the point. Like, you can do all this crazy stuff, but you've got to figure it out. Well, I'm dumb. It just says it.
Again,
right there at the bottom of the screen.
It is. It's the title. Smart home for dumb guys.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not that smart. They're limited homes.
No, because I've seen some people. Oh, our smart homes aren't that smart.
Yeah, our homes are limited because we're the dumb guys.
Yeah.
Limited by your capabilities.
Exactly. All right. IKEA. Speaking of let's changing and adding more stuff. IKEA.
Yeah, that'll make it easier.
Yeah. IKEA's come out with some new sensors, and they are very affordable. Very affordable. Let me see if I can. Did I figure this out?
And I think I'm going to be under it.
So,
you ever been inside a website before? I work with a lot of HTML code. I've never quite done that.
I don't know what happened there, but IKEA's kind of gotten halfway into the smart home game. They had their own hub for a while and some
still do
bulbs.
Still does, still works with the new stuff as well.
It does. But now it's Matter through Thread. Is that the new part of it?
Yeah, over Thread.
Over Thread. They have a motion sensor that's $8.
Yeah.
But have you seen it? It's kind of the size.
Well,
of
I don't think it's any bigger than Philips Hue.
Oh, really?
motion sensors. Yeah, I mean, they're not. It's not small, but then it's $8. Like I
Yeah.
don't. You're not
Well,
gonna
I
hide
guess
it.
I got spoiled. I had a Wise one that was the size of a quarter, and only half-inch thick.
Yeah, I mean that's
But
quite impressive.
it doesn't work anymore, so I guess
Yeah,
that's part
they're
of the reason. But for $8, and no hub needed for that, correct?
not with as long as you have a Matter
Right.
router, I think is what it's called. So yeah, if you have that, that seems to work. And I actually just watched a video tonight with a guy who was basically saying 2 weeks, not a single disconnection from any of the devices, and he bought them all to test them all out.
I think I saw
That was the original first thing that came out was kind of this stuff is not working, but
Right.
they were able to get it fixed and get it right, and the disconnections are less and less, and you almost when they're $8 a piece for the motion sensor, and I think the remotes are like $9 a piece.
Right.
The one with a wheel is if you buy a 3-pack, it's a little over $8.
Yeah.
You're kind of going to be okay. Well, I can accept a little bit of disconnect
well,
every
that's
now.
what-
You don't
that's
want it
what
to
I always
happen all the
thought, too.
time, and if
Yeah.
they're fixing it, even better.
The door
So I think
contact-
that's the point. That it's making it accessible to anybody who wants to, and apparently through the IKEA app, it works flawlessly.
really.
And you're very limited. You can't
Yeah.
set conditions on. It's just on or off. It's not. You can't. Oh well, during a certain time, allow this to happen, or when I leave during a certain time, the lights should come on. It's just if you leave, the lights are going to come on, or do whatever you tell it to do.
Right. Yeah, I think accessibility is the key there, and that's kind of IKEA's thing. You get these shelves behind me are IKEA. I know the shelves behind you are IKEA,
Yep.
and it's worth a little bit of the inconvenience putting them together. That was the issue that I still run into with Wise stuff. It was cheaper, but the disconnection issues got to be a problem. I have colored bulbs in all the kids' rooms, and I feel like that breaks connection once a month. So if the IKEA's working on it and be able to figure it out, that's great.
And the other thing is with Matter over Thread, they don't have to put all that stuff
Right.
into their app. They can do the basic stuff, and if somebody wants to do more, they can figure it
Yeah.
out.
Exactly.
And other people have figured it out, and it's just a matter of going through the forums and finding the help. Reddit and the Home Assistant forum is pretty fantastic for
Yeah,
finding
it
things.
is. It is for sure. The other ones that I want to talk about, they have and I forget what they call it. And if I could pull up the website, we could find it. The only one that plugs in, it measures humidity and temperature, and
Well, we couldn't pronounce it anyway.
True. I believe the motion sensor is my stop. That sounds German.
Well, yeah, that was Swedish.
So anyway, worth checking out. And again, if I ever get things up and running, I guess we're doing an IKEA closet system coming up, so maybe I'll throw a couple of those in the free shipping.
Well, yeah, you have to get to the free shipping. That's my thing. I'm like, well, I
trust
want
me, we're spending-
three.
we're spending
Well, you will if you're doing that. But $35. Well, 3 remotes is $24.99 or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, now I guess I got to throw a motion sensor. Oh, guess what? That's $34.99. That doesn't count. I'm gonna need throw in batteries or something.
It's a shame. Shame you have to get extra stuff. Unless your wife goes there like once a month to play.
She
bingo.
goes there once a month, a little bit of bingo action, but something makes me feel like she's not going to put that in her cart. I
A
don't.
strong feeling you're absolutely right on that.
Yeah.
Should we do this week in dumb?
Oh, well, absolutely.
All
I
right.
think we probably should, and I think I'd lead right into mine.
All right.
This week in dumb, and it involves this piece of hardware right over here. Well, I went too far. It's a Switch. It's actually a scene controller from Levitron. and I got it.
Hardwired or
it is hardwired. Yep,
Okay.
hardwired. Just replaced the regular light switch for the bar lights above me, but it has 4 buttons on it. The very bottom button is the controller of the actual switch. You hardwired. You don't need anything smart for it. That button works all the time, and the other 3 switches you can program to do whatever you want. So my wife walks down, and only 2 of the bar lights turn on because I hadn't, tested my automations. So she yells, not in a mean way, just like, how do I turn the lights on? And I'm like, well, you hit the one that is the picture of a light bulb. But again, we didn't tell her. And then, but you do that, and all the lights are going to go off because it's the switch, so it turns the lights off. So you have to hit it again. That's not the point of what you wanted to happen. So that's this week in dumb. And then, I added a couple more presence detectors down here because the one that we have is behind. So when we're watching TV, it'll kick on the bar lights, and that's annoying.
Right.
But you can adjust the depth at which they work. So I adjusted it to stop short of the couches.
Right.
Well, I made some changes to the layout down here for when I have some people over, and it makes it a lot easier just to kind of sit in a different way. And she wanted the bar lights to come on, and they didn't come on because it was no longer detecting all the way to where she was sitting.
Yeah.
So that's dumb.
Yeah.
That's
dumb. My dumb is I think it probably fits along the same lines as me trying Home Assistant. So we get the Samsung fridge. We talked about in previous episodes. It is not the AI screen on the front one, but it is a smart things, and you can control certain things through the app, including turning on ice and turning off ice and water and temperature control and stuff. It's actually pretty cool. There's one drawer we talked about that you can adjust the temperature. I have yet to do that, but I could if I wanted to.
Again, that is the one thing I need, the alert set up for my device for when you adjust the temperature. I just want to know.
So the first fridge we get after they install it and leave, wife kind of says something's weird with the way the freezer door opens, and I'm like, well, maybe that's how it is. We kind of deal with it for a while, and I'm like, you know what? We bought it through Costco. Costco is a great program. I chat with Costco. They immediately, without me even saying what's wrong, like, we'll send you a new one. Okay, so we have to deal with a new one. We didn't have a lot in there, but blah blah blah. So the first one I had set up through SmartThings. I had the SmartThings app. I think I even had it controlled through Alexa, but it's neither here nor there. Second one comes in. It's a busier day. They deliver it, and then we head off, do stuff. Works better. Freezer door works perfect. Great. Glad we went with the extra one. 2 days later, we get a notice they have to shut off our water. And the night before, wife says, don't forget to shut off the ice maker so we don't have to dump the ice. And I'm like, yeah. I leave for work, forget all about it. I'm like, no problem. I'll go right on the app. Well, I didn't set up the app for the second fridge. I didn't set up the Wi-Fi and the smart. So it really is not a dumb device. It's a dumb, once again, this guy's dumb.
That's twice now that you screwed it up.
Twice. And I literally left work for an hour over my lunchtime so I could turn off the ice. Then we could have just dumped it, but then we would have had to recycle. It would have been a pain. Or I could have just taken out my phone. Ice off. Ice off. I'm an idiot. And that's
that's
where we are.
That's why we have this to make sure that the people that are viewing don't do the same dumb stuff we do.
Yeah, it
would not have stopped us from doing it had we seen somebody, but maybe that one person we save from all the dumb stuff.
This is what we are here for. This is why we were put on this earth, is to save you from doing dumb stuff. Just take 5 minutes and set it up. It doesn't take that long. Slow down. Slow it down. So, that's where we are. I do think we've talked about having guests, and I think we need to work on finding a smarter person to have next episode
Okay,
to help us
that's
out.
interesting. I'm trying to think of. I don't know that I know anybody who wants to do smart stuff with their homes.
Because they've seen us. They've been in our
Yeah,
houses.
maybe we just need an intelligent person, nothing to do with
And they'll
with
look
smart.
at me like, why? Why
What's
do you
the
want
point?
to
I'm
do
like,
this?
well, I'm also lazy, and
Smart homes for
light
dumb and
switches,
lazy
and I
guys.
don't.
All right. I promise it won't be a month this next time. I promise we'll try to tinker with Home Assistant a little bit more. And I'll have much better things to report next time.
And I will gladly try something out for somebody. If they want to see, I have a scene controller over here.
Yeah.
If they want to see me press a button and it does something. I
I'd
have
like to-
guest mode and movie mode and
that's cool.
podcast because I didn't know.
So you just have one button in the podcast scene. You mash it.
Yep, yep, it toggles. Because I mean, it's actually a complicated automation. Maybe we'll walk through it next time.
Yeah, let's do that. We should take an
See this.
actual automation and that'll help me, I think, to
Yeah,
go
there you
through
go.
and do
Let's
that.
do
So
it.
let's do that. All right. Well, very good. Good to see you. Keep being dumb and keeping your smart home smart.
You too.
See ya.